All right.
All right, Kisley was soon after. Kisley, if you're not ready, okay, let me invite Abdul Salam Jibril to give us a background into our conversation. It's 1 month into the Abuja Kaduna train attack. Let's take the background now.
Thursday, 28th of April 2022 is exactly a month the Abuja to Kaduna bound train AK9 left Idu station at about 6 p.m. Its destination was the Rigasa train station in Kaduna State, scheduled for 8 p.m. At around 7:45 p.m., however, the about 2-hour journey took another turn. According to eyewitness accounts, armed bandits attacked the train with improvised explosive devices and opened fire at the passengers in Katari, Kaduna State. By the time the dust settled, some passengers were killed, including Amin Mahmoud, a youth leader of the All Progressive Congress, Chinelo Megafu Chinelo, a medical doctor, and Barrister Musa Lawal Ozigi, Secretary General, Trade Union Congress, among others. Some other passengers were abducted, while others who sustained various degrees of injuries were taken to the 44th Nigerian Army Reference Hospital in Kaduna State. In response, the Nigerian Railway Corporation suspended operations along the route, announcing that repair work on the blown-up track and the damaged coaches of the train had commenced. While there has been conflicting reports on passengers that boarded the train, the Nigerian Railway Corporation clarifies the number of passengers with its manifest, revealing that 362 passengers were on board the train. However, the actual number of passengers abducted is still sketchy, and 22 passengers have been declared missing by their families. President Muhammad Buhari described the attack on the train as callous and a matter of grave concern, and has since given security agencies marching orders to rescue the abducted passengers and other Nigerians in captivity unhurt. The bandits have also released videos and photos of the abducted passengers, as well as made several demands for their release. There are also reports of one of the abducted pregnant female passenger giving birth while in captivity. While the images of the abductees has been bittersweet for their families and the eventual release of one of the passengers, the question remains: how are families coping without their loved ones? What is the condition of those on treatment? When will train services on Abuja-Kaduna route resume? Guests on the program will be speaking to issues on the Abuja-Kaduna train attack shortly.
Very devastating experience, if you ask me. Thank you, Abdul Salam, for recalling that incident. Now, one of the passengers on that train who spoke with us on Good Morning Nigeria about experience shortly after they were rescued was Mohammed Ali, Acting Deputy Director News. He had joined us on one of the editions of Good Morning Nigeria via Zoom, but he's right here with us in the studio to speak more on this issue. Acting Deputy Director, NTA News, Mohammed Ali. Thank you very much for joining us on the program.
It's my pleasure, Claire. Thank you.
And also with us in the studio, we have Dr. Ayo Olorunfemi, and he's Chairman, TUC Political Commission, and also Secretary General, Senior Staff Association of Statutory Corporations and Government-Owned Companies. Thank you very much for joining us on the program.
Thank you very much for having me. All right, and joining us via Zoom from Kaduna is Abdulaziz Atta, who is now the spokesperson for the relatives of the kidnapped train passengers. Abdulaziz, pleasure to welcome you to Good Morning Nigeria today.
Thank you very much for having me.
Okay, and from our Ibadan Network Center, we'd like to welcome our regular guests on Good Morning Nigeria. Professor Benjamin Ehige is of the Department of Psychology at the University of Ibadan. Professor Ehige, welcome once again to Good Morning Nigeria.
Thank you. Good morning.
All right, so let's begin the conversation. Mohammed Ali, we had him, as Claire said, on Good Morning Nigeria in the immediate aftermath of the terrorist attack on the train service, popularly referred to as AK-9, Abuja to Kaduna. Mohammed Ali, 1 month later, how do you feel?
I'm okay, really, Kinsley. I am really okay. But then some of my co-passengers are still not okay. I actually was spoken to 2 others. I wanted them to come on board with me on this program. Say they don't want to speak about it again. So you can see that everybody's reaction, and then, I mean, after the train is different. I've moved on, and I'm okay now. But some of my colleagues, like I said, that were on that train are not really okay. One says since then he has not traveled. He's afraid of traveling anywhere. And the other says sometimes he still has that mess. But I think I'm fortunate. I not had any issue concerning that incident. After the incident, I just, like I said on the first day we moved, I just move on. I just, like any other thing in life, it just comes and it goes. So here am I. I've been carrying out my duties, moving on. I don't even remember the incident until I see somebody talks about it, or because up to now, if I meet some of my colleagues or some people call me and say, oh, we had this, so it is when such happens that I remember that the incident had happened and I was part of it. But as of now, really, I've moved on.
Did you have some form of counseling or therapy, or it's just moving on based on your faith in God?
Exactly. No any therapy, no any counseling, no nothing. Like I told you the other day, when it was even happening, I was really calm. It was as if it's not happening. I just calm, watching the issues. Even somebody that we are together trying to say, no, I held him back. Don't run, because the light that time, they can see you from outside. Lie down, lie down. So we were all lying down. I was not I was not really traumatized, really. I wasn't. Because I was in my senses, I knew all that was happening and I was calm. I saw that was happening. All the things I can recall. I know what was within that the coach I was, and when the light was off, the frantic rush and effort by all of us to move away from the VIP towards the safer coaches there. I can recall all these ones, and I knew exactly what I was doing. And we never had any counseling, not at all.
Apart from I know both of us had been at the front line. Apart from that, have you had any prior experience of such incidents, before?
No.
No
I've
experience.
not even really been involved, not even an auto accident. So that for me to say I have passed through any traumatic experience in the past, not at all. Maybe the only trauma is losing a close one. I think that's the one, but not any incident that will happen to me that will make me to be
Traumatized.
Yeah.
Mohammed Ali, let me still stay with you. Recall this journey from Edo train station or Kubwa station where you boarded. Did you have any premonition? If you like, some would say some superstitious instincts. And then how did the journey proceed?
Nothing. There was nothing. Sure, I was relaxed. I was so confident. I follow this train regularly on a weekly basis. And that 6 o'clock train has been the one that I bought almost all the time. I leave here 6 and get into Kaduna 8:30 or something to 9. So just like, I've been boarding that train since 2017. It's very convenient for me. because I don't need to start driving all the way from Kaduna, Abuja to that. It's very comfortable, it's timing, and moving from the station in Kadigasa to where I stay is not so hectic. The same thing from here, I just moved to Kuba. Most of the time I board from Kuba. And even on that particular day, I boarded from Kuba train station, nothing. And we are not as crowded as we the normal days, because you notice it was on a Monday, and evening train. If it were the train from Kaduna to Abuja, you will expect more people, because some people will be returning on Monday. But from Abuja to Kaduna on a Monday, that is even in the evening, it's not so crowded. So even when these pictures were released, I can recall seeing some of them. I recognize some faces, because even we were very few, especially those of us on the VIP. The coaches were not like even the last coach where we normally go to pray, and we prayed that particular time too, because it was on a Monday, and most of the time many people fast on Mondays and Thursdays. It's voluntary, and many people did that, and we were even sharing debt on the train, and we prayed that the last coach will come. I was coming because I was in the VIP, but the first one from the head, that is, there were 4 VIP coaches. I was on the first one, so I moved to the fourth one where we prayed, and we come. I didn't had any. There was nothing whatsoever. I was relaxed. I was seated, because after the prayers, I came to the where they sell this thing. Unfortunately, the lady that I even bought the tea from her was killed. I saw her there after the incident, and came back, and I just sat down, because, like I said, the coach was not so filled up. Instead of the 2 of us on the seat, I was alone. Even behind me, there were very few people in the coach, not up to the capacity that the train call usually carry. So there was nothing. Even when I had the blast and the train was shaking, because I was thinking it was maybe just something wrong with the train, or because sometimes you will see children placing stones on the tracks, and then when the train comes and crushes it. Because even in Kaduna, when we were small, I know we do that. We'll come and place the stones on the track, thinking we'll see what is going to happen. At the end of the day, the train will just come and crush everything. So I was thinking it's just something similar, but this time maybe instead of the smaller stones, maybe something bigger was placed. That was why the train was shaking, until when it drilled, and some of us have started even, thank God, and then we swallowed our thanking God and started scrambling for safety when there was gunshots everywhere. So there was nothing whatsoever, and even I didn't expect anything, and I didn't have that feeling. Normally, it's true. Sometimes you just have a feeling that something will happen, but on that day, nothing.
Okay, Kingsley, let me ask my follow-up question to what Kingsley. It could have been worse. What we are reporting now could have been worse. And I'm wondering, I know there have been 1 or 2 occasions where the tracks, were vandalized. But was there anything that provided some form of security for those of you to enable people like you, come out and help? Within the train itself or outside?
There are always policemen on board, and they were there. Especially if you come to the coach that I was, because that was the first coach between the economy and the first class. So you normally find them. You will see 2, and then when you move them, and then when the train is moving, occasionally you see them moving inside the train. And same thing was there. Actually, like the coach that I was, when they started, it was one of the police that was telling, lie down, all of he was telling us, lie down, don't move, lie down. And then I saw him crawling with his, moving on on his belly, and then he was moving towards the door, because he was like in the middle of the train, and he was moving towards the train. He actually spoke to us in my coach, spoke to us, he was talking in low tone that we should all lie down. Don't get up, just lie down. And then he was moving. So there are security guys on board, and that also helped because when the lights were turned off at last, because I had somebody from the economy close shouting, turn off the light, turn off the light. I had somebody shouting, they can see us outside, but we cannot see them, turn off the light. And the light in the coach was turned off, but all our own had light. But later on, the whole train, maybe they were able from somewhere, I don't know where, they were able to switch off the light. And that helped because from where I was lying down, from under the seat, I actually stuck my head gently to look towards the direction where they were come from, the back, the last,
you must be brave.
the last coach, because that was when because they tried to open the door, but the door could not open from outside. There are hooks.
Okay.
So we just had another blast from the back. So it was through that back that I saw them. I had them pushing people. I saw them. When I just looked, I saw them push somebody down, and then I retreated beneath the seat because that time there was light. So immediately the light went out. That was when they started shooting again inside the train. And then I realized that they're also vulnerable because we have policemen with gun. So they can pick them up. When the light was turned off completely, it didn't take more than 5 minutes for the place to be quiet. For the place from where we were, that is the coach that I was and the 2 other coaches that I was peeping. They left those coaches. So that gave us, when that happened, and we are still hearing the shots from outside. So we scrambled, but since we just thought, okay, they are coming in from this direction, so we are moving towards the economy side where we think is safer, because that we've not had shots from that place, and we've not had the people there shouting or did it. So we were all scrambling and moved towards that direction. So the presence of the security actually, maybe, I don't know, they must have not done much. Shot at any of done anything, but the fact that they know there was security on board and they had gun must have informed their early exit from the train when the light was turned off. That was what I think.
Mohammed Ali, thanks a lot for the recall. We'll return to you in the course of the conversation. Dr. Ayo Olorunfemi is of the Trade Union Congress. We earlier introduced him. The Trade Union Congress lost 2 of its officers on that train service. We understand the state chairman of TUC in Kwara was on board that train. Unfortunately, he was one of the fatalities. And the Secretary General of the TUC, Barrister Musa Lawal Ozigi, was also on board that train, and he lost his life. He was with his wife. We understand that the wife was injured. So tell us, what is the mood at the TUC 1 month later?
My brother, we are still mourning, and we are angry. It's not just TUC, the entire labor movement. We are not just mourning, but we are angry. And we now realize that when, according to the word of Pluto, when intelligent people refuse to participate in politics, the unintelligent rule them. We observe this, we notice this because due to the happenings in the country. And we felt that we can no longer continue to lament over the state of the nation. Then, at our organ meeting, we decided that TUC must now begin to participate actively in politics.
Was it this incident that
prompted that.
Yes.
No.
This latest decision.
We were proactive. People have been dying before now. They have been kidnapping. I have been kidnapped before. I have, full experience of what it takes to be kidnapped in the same location, Vijana.
You were kidnapped?
Yes, February 21, 2019. So that was not reported. I deliberately made sure it was not reported because my country will not do anything. Otherwise, I will lose my life or pay more than I paid. So you can imagine the thousands and thousands of people that have been killed as a result of bad governance. That is the way I'll put it. And then, should we continue to lament over the inability of government to protect us? So we decided at our own organ meeting that we should now get involved in politics. And that informed the establishment of the Trade Union Congress Political Commission. The NSC also has a political commission. We are working in synergy. Now, you ask me, as trade union or labor centers, do you think you should get involved in politics?
Dr. Olorunfemi, I'm sorry, I'm not jumping in here.
Yeah.
I know that these are, if you may, strategic reactions to what the labor movement has observed. But the question I asked you has to do with framing the incident of the AK-9 terrorist attack 1 month later.
Yeah.
You earlier responded that the TUC and indeed the labor movement is in mourning and it's also angry. Yeah. But tell us more about this mourning that the TUC is going through. What, for instance, is the state of Musa Lawal's wife? And what else has the TUC tried to do? Who were these colleagues of yours?
My brother, we, for 3 weeks, nobody rested. And up to now, we have not rested. After the burial ceremony, we all went to Okene to bury Musa Lawal. It was very hard. Somebody very close to you. We eat together, we drink together. I was in the 220 train. He was supposed to be on that 220 train, but because he went to take his jab, his second jab, he couldn't meet up with us.
What's 220?
The time. It is
the afternoon train service.
Yes, afternoon train service.
Oh, you went ahead and
yes, I went ahead of him, waiting for him. When Kaduna there, destabilize, distrust.
How did he get to know about the news?
We were holding a meeting and we were waiting for him. It was to anchor the meeting. The meeting was scheduled to start 8 o'clock. So we said, okay, he's on his way. And we kept on communicating. We were communicating with him. Our president, Congress President, Comrade Quadri Olaleye, was presiding over the meeting while we were making contact, and he was also getting in touch with him. We started the meeting. The meeting was to inaugurate the 19 state political commission members, ESCO. That was the purpose for the meeting. All the 19 state chairmen of TUC and the TUC commission were all present. More than 80 people were there in the hall. We were waiting at that 8 o'clock. Around 9 o'clock, we were trying to reach him. The phone was no longer ringing. Then the news got to us that something happened. So we left, we were all scattered that night in the hotel. Got like, okay, what happened? Then at a point, his phone was ringing. I said, okay, if the phone is ringing now, which means it's safe. But he was not picking the call. So you can imagine throughout the night what we went through. So early in the morning the following day, we got information that the wife was shot, but has been rushed to the hospital. So we assume that he must have been kidnapped. But the wife at least was in the hospital. So the Congress president and one of the officials rushed to the hospital, the military hospital there. And, behold, not quite an hour, I received a call that Musa was gone and Akin too was gone. You know, I can't explain how we felt or how I felt. Is it anger? I can't explain how I felt. Whether I should be going on the street or I should go back to my room, or I left over 80 other people. I left them there. You know, I can't announce to them what has happened. I couldn't. So it was a very, we were not there, but because of the experience I had in the hands of kidnappers, I can't imagine. You can imagine. I can't explain how I felt. And our president too. Every one of us destabilized.
Let's look at your travels, on the train. Within that access, what has been your previous experience, and do you think that incident could have been avoided?
Yes. On that particular 2:20 train, I was not feeling comfortable. It was like something was going to happen. I felt it. And even the way the train was moving, our own train, 2:20 p.m. train, the way it was moving. Usually train will take 2 hours from Abuja to Kaduna. This one took 3 hours. It was so slow at a point, shake, and all of that. And I also observed the movement of some guys in that train, looking at your face, like looking for somebody. You know, I think we in this country,
Who do you think those people are? Were they trained?
No, if you're a trained official, you'll be carrying an ID card and you dress in their manner. You have your. Yes, now these people.
These were like fellow passengers.
Fellow passengers that look right. Not if they check the camera, they will. Check their. You will see somebody with a white and blue kind of.
Did you say something? Because if you observed such strange.
Yeah.
Yes. Did you take action?
After that thing happened, things will begin to come to your brain. Why was this person looking at us like this?
Yeah, a lot of family. That's a very important observation that you have made. It's like, you're on a plane and you see a passenger walking down the aisle and staring at each of the passengers. First of all, it is rude for you to be staring. If you are looking for any passenger, there are polite ways of searching that out. So a lot of family. What is the state of Musa Lawal's wife?
Well, I can't tell you it's good. We'll do all our best to continue to console her. But you think the state will be good? We've been visiting. We've been visiting. We're doing as much as. We are not expecting. It's not as if Musa Lawal is up to 60 years old. Still very active, futuristic, and not because he had an accident. Not because he was sick, that they were running up and down. Alive, we came from Lagos on Sunday and moving to Kaduna on Monday. And he got killed in a country that has government.
Okay, Olorunfemi, thank you very much. Let's go over to Abdulaziz Atta, who is a spokesperson for the relatives of those who were abducted after the terrorists stormed the train. Abdulaziz, we apologize we've kept you for this long. We wanted, of course, our viewers and your good self and the other guests we have, Professor Igie, to have the benefit of the narration of both Muhammad Ali and Dr. Olorunfemi. We didn't know that Olorunfemi was on an earlier train service. I'm sure you must have benefited from what he has said. But let's listen to the voices through you of the families of those whose members are still in captivity.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me. The families of those that are currently under captivity were in pain. We're in pain. We're going through challenges that words can simply not explain. Remember, for example, if you have somebody that is dead, you know that there's an end game to that. You will console yourself that that is the end. But in this scenario, we have kids as young as 3, 4, 6 years old, and we have elderly women as old as 85 years old. We have pregnant women that are under captivity currently. We have people that need medication, daily medication to keep them okay, that don't have access to these drugs, that are currently under captivity. Again, I just want you to go through not what we, the relatives, are going on. What we, the relatives, are going on, it's not much compared to what our loved ones are currently going through in the bush. The person that was released, Alwan, the managing director of Bank of Africa, at least we had a first-hand information about the condition of how our loved ones are currently living in the bush. What he told us was that the few days, 4 or 5 days, they spent those 4 or 5 days just taking mango. That was what they were taking. When they got to the initial camp, they were sleeping on bare floor. The rain, the sun on them. Somebody that is 85 years old woman, kids that are as young as 4, 3 years old, women that are pregnant, people that need medication, daily medication. That is what they are currently being subjected to. So how can we, the relatives, be okay? Absolutely, we find it difficult to even sleep, to even eat. It's an extremely difficult situation we find ourselves. So at this point, we are appealing to the government. We are appealing to the government to listen to us, to listen to our cry, bring back our loved ones for us. It's very important that the government steps up its activity in bringing back our loved ones back to us. Remember, when we had the COVID in Nigeria, you had the incident team that were giving us daily information on management of COVID in Nigeria when it started. And we also saw the excellent work that was done in managing COVID. But now you have several people, we don't know the number, in the bush. I expect similar action. I expect somebody should be giving us daily information on what is happening to our loved one. I expect a unified task force where you bring in all the experts that are needed to bring our loved ones from the bush. Remember, it's not just only our loved ones there. There are other kidnapped victims in the bush now. There are several, we have several of those incidences. But I expect similar approach the way we handle COVID. I expect a task force should be formed where you bring in the relevant agency, where you keep us informed. It's unfortunate that in this country we find ourselves now. For us now, we've had very little or no contact from the government. Nobody is talking to us. Nobody is talking to us. We are human beings. We are Nigerians. Somebody should talk to us. Somebody should share our pains with us. We are in pains. We are suffering on a daily basis for the past 32 days. Today is the 32nd day where our life has been turned upside down. It can't be normal. It can't be. Somebody should come to our aid. Somebody should help us. That is what we are pleading. Please, please, please send this message to the highest authority. They should come to our aid. Thank you.
Mr. Abdulaziz Atta, what kind of information are you soliciting from the government? Because the government has said that, there have been reports of, government saying they are in touch, they are in discussions, and that, this is a security matter, not, there are sensitive, details that cannot be let out in the public and all that. That's why I'm asking, what form of information, are you asking at this time?
Again, I'll take you back to the management. I'll take you back to the management of COVID in Nigeria. Remember, there was tracing. You were tracing every victim that had COVID, the virus. We were tracing every victim and providing support to those victims. We are asking that you do something similar. Trace the victims, give them the appropriate support. We have kids now. We have kids now that are asking for their mom on daily basis. We have women that are pregnant now that simply, some of them have even gone into, they are bleeding, lost their pregnancy. That is the scenario we have. Somebody should provide similar support you had in COVID. We did it in this country, not somewhere else. If we can manage COVID incidents successfully, I'm telling you, take the same model of the way COVID was managed in Nigeria, apply it to this incident. That is what I'm demanding for.
Thank you very much for the points that you have raised. We will, of course, return to those issues in the course of this conversation. Let's bring in now Professor Benjamin Egie, who is a psychologist at the University of Ibadan. Professor Egie, you have, of course, a number of issues to respond to. The last one talking about social psychological support for families of the victims. But I want you to begin from what Mohammed Ali with us in the studios here said. Mohammed Ali says that he has moved on, that unless of course, there are reminders of that incident, he doesn't quite remember. But of course, later on, he got into details of what transpired. How do you explain Muhammad Ali's psychological makeup in dealing with this kind of otherwise traumatic incident? And then, as I said, other issues you may wish to pick up from a psychological perspective.
Thank you very much. We know that we are different as human beings. We have individual differences. And our dispositions to things, they are also different. No two persons would behave nor would think in the same way. Like the, victim who was fortunate enough, so to say, to have been rescued or rescued himself, well, it is very much possible that he might not be so badly affected psychologically like some others would. That could be his stability. It might have a stable personality, more stable than some other people, whereas some other people would not pass through such experience. Usually, in a situation of this, in a situation of fright and so on, we have it commencing from perception of the situation. People perceive things differently, and they have differences in interpretation. That's why even when it happened at that very time, you will discover that some people would be able to escape, Why? Because in perceiving the occurrence, in perceiving the sin, they are able to manipulate themselves. They are able to see in a wider dimension, identify loopholes and possible exit points whereby they would be able to rescue themselves. Whereas there are some others who are taken into the sin, they become frozen behaviorally. Even when there are better opportunities for escape, they might not even be able to escape because the situations has just frozen them. Their thought pattern has been disorganized, and they may not even be able to free themselves. And that is just personality differences and individual differences for you to see. And that is why when there's a situation like this, we have a principle of fight or flight. While some people want to fight, either they want to fight directly or they want to fight by trying to escape. Some others, they just want to succumb, to subscribe, because they are afraid of dying. Some believe that it is possible that if they try to take any action contrary to the perception of the perpetrators, they might end up dying. So when they have opportunities of getting free, they might not want to utilize it. That is the challenge we have with human beings. He has a stable personality from what I was saying, but in no doubt, it is very much likely occasionally there will be a flashback of what had happened. And at times he might even have some feelings of guilt. Guilt in the sense that, oh, he was able to escape. He could as well have assisted some other people in escaping and so on. Some assistance he might just be feeling he could have rendered to some people, which he didn't. Certainly, occasionally it will come. Just that he has a stable personality to be able to deny the existence, the occurrence of that incident on that day, and ability to forge ahead, which others would not be able to do. Now, the family members, in fact, most times we seem to ignore them. We concentrate more on the victims. The family members are supposed to be the social supporters. But at a time like this, like he has been complaining, a representative of the family members of those still under captivity. Now, it would have been proper, it would have been ideal. I wouldn't know what ministry or unit or agency that is in charge ought to have identified family members of these victims and try as much as possible to be in touch with them. The fact that they see the authority or these agencies, they are more like father, they are more like God, in quotes, whom they depend on, whom they rely on. So positive information from such source or sources would help to improve their psychological well-being, would help to improve their trust and confidence, would help to improve their feelings that there is hope. Because most of them now will be passing through what we refer to as hopelessness. And with that state of hopelessness, it will psychologically affect them, demoralize them, and it could lead to severe depression. Don't be surprised that while some of the victims might still come back alive, some of these family members might not be able to withstand it to the end. We don't pray it happens. Some of them might die off as a result of psychological torture and some other physical consequences which they might undergo. So it would have been very much appropriate for an agency to arrange for a sort of a psychological intervention or rehabilitation for such people. The fact that they are able to complain to people and they are able to receive feedback from them could encourage them, enhance their psyche, empower them in making them feel that there is hope. It is true that these are security issues. Certainly, we know that the government, the security agency would likely have been strategizing, and such strategies ought not to be disclosed. But given that assurance, that there is so giving the assurance that, oh, the government is doing something, the people over there, the victims, they are well catered for, they receive some information from them, they are up and doing, it will encourage them and keep them psychologically balanced. I feel it is not too late for such intervention to still be meted on them, because they would be passing through a lot of psychological torture by now.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Ehige. We'll come back to you for more questions. But for now, some of the rescued victims of that train attack, of course, were hospitalized at the military hospital in Kaduna. We'll now pause for a while and join our correspondent, Haruna Mohammed, who will give us an update of the condition of those patients.
Barely 1 month, passengers on Abuja-Kaduna bound train were attacked by bandits, killing some, abducting scores, while others sustained injuries as a result of gunshots and some were unhurt. However, those abducted are still in captivity, surviving under dehumanizing conditions. The episode has crippled train services, which was suspended immediately. Apart from retarding nation's progress in land transport system, it left permanent trauma among the victims. Those who sustained injuries were admitted at 44 Hospital and St. Gerald Hospital, Kakuri, Kaduna. The cheering news is that those who were shot, most of them have been treated and discharged.
There was no any operation that was carried on any of the victims, because the gunshot injury was entry and exit bullet wound. So there was no need, and there was no any tissue damage, so there was no surgery that was carried out. So it was just dressed. I think that particular victim happens to be the longest victim that stayed in the hospital for days. And even after discharge, she came for follow-up dressing and treatment.
The attack on Kaduna-Abuja train by bandits is still fresh and underscored the need for collective action as citizens to support security apparatus with relevant and credible intelligence in putting a stop to this dastardly and barbaric act.
All right, thank you very much. That's our correspondent Haruna reporting from Kaduna on the latest of the medical situation of the victims of the train attack. Back to our studios here, Dr. Ayo Olorunfemi of the Trade Union Congress. Again, you told us that you had previously been kidnapped along the Abuja-Kaduna road. Could you, for the benefit of our viewers and the families in particular at this time, indicate what to do and what not to do while in captivity?
First thing is to maintain your comportment. Don't try to escape. Don't just try to escape. Those guys are vicious and they are trained. They are trained as in military training. While I was in their net, while receiving weapon, AK-47, I asked them, because of my comportment and the fact that I have grown gray, I was able to command some respect from them. After all, I've told them I'm a retired person, so, and I'm not rich, so, but what you say you will get, I will try as much as possible to get to my family. They will raise some money, and we became friends. There were about 8 of us in their cell. They were receiving weapons. And the boy who serviced the weapon was about 16-year-old boy servicing the weapon, not a Nigerian. Take note of that. Among the group that kidnapped me, only one guy is a Nigerian from Kano State. A Fulani guy from Kano State. That is the only Nigerian. The rest are Fulani from outside Nigeria. vicious, well trained. And it will shock you to note that in spite of all those operation and risk they went through to kidnap people, you are only entitled to 40,000 naira. So all the money they collect, where does it go to?
No, who is entitled to 40,000? You as a victim or?
No,
No, each
They
of
those
operate-
guys, they operate, yes, those kidnappers, they are only entitled to 40,000 naira. Not that they told me, not that somebody told me the story. I was hearing from directly from them. They are entitled to 40,000 naira. Some of them are even tired of the job, but they can't just go out. So when people say they are talking about bandit, I laugh. Not bandit, terrorist. Like the financial beast, financial wing of the Boko Haram, where we were taken to. I can't measure the kilometer, maybe 35 kilometers from the express into the forest. It's a mountain, a hill. After that hill, another bigger hill. Behind that hill, said they have the Boko Haram cell there. And I can't imagine we are in a country that is not bigger than this. Even if our security, the armed forces and the military, the air force and all of that, they are not more than, they are not up to what we have. You don't need just carrying gun and all of that. The world has gone technological to apply scientific method of solving this problem. Yes, kinetic, yes, you have to involve it. But before all those energy, why not deploy technology? What is Kaduna in the map? What is Zamfara in the map? And have we asked ourselves this question? Why Kaduna? Why Zamfara? I have all the information from these kidnappers. Why Kaduna? Why Zamfara? Our quest for power led us to where we are today. The quest for power. What is it? What power are we looking for? Now they are going about looking for 100 million, 40 million, people borrowing money to go and buy form. For which job? You are paying 100 million to get form to become a president of a country, and your remuneration is 53 million. Why? What's the beauty there?
You said something that because of your gray, which means because of your age, you were able to elicit, attract their attention. Yeah. So could it be that they also listen to, elders or, people whom they feel are more, advanced in age?
Not all of them. In a group of 10, you will see one that has some kind of passion and will move closer to you. Yeah, about 2 of them. The 16-year-old boy is vulnerable, but has been trained and is vicious. The Nigerian guy, naturally Nigerians, when we see there's that emotional attachment, when we see ourselves in kind of state, we can say, I beg now, everything that happen now, I will listen to you. But for those other guys, they don't care. So
it is possible that you can have a conversation with them.
Yes, if you are in their net, you can have conversation with them. They won't just leave you like that. They gave us food. We cook the food there using pot and a stick as a spoon to mix it. Give you rice and beans without pepper, plenty salt. You eat it. They give you take water from the pond. That time you can put the way to filter is to put your shirt, cover the cup, cover the keg, and drink from your cloth, so that at least it will sieve something out from your.
So I also asked, what not to do. The first thing you said is comportment. That's the first thing to do.
Yeah.
And then don't try to run away. That's the other thing. But how do you manage your freedom In other words, if I say manage, that's a broad word, actually. That is to say, how do you secure your freedom?
Please just hold it. You will respond to that question. We'd just like to take a short break. This is paid commercial. We have to pay our bills. Welcome back. It's Good Morning Nigeria. Dr. Ayo Olorunfemi was about to answer a very important question Kinsley put to him. How do you secure your freedom?
So when we got there, we were allowed to sleep. Well, they didn't tell us to sleep. Some people slept. I couldn't sleep. And in the morning, they came back in larger number. They were demanding for money. From me, they requested for 20 million. They look at me, they say, your own is 20 million. Pay or you die. That's the language. They will interpret it to you in pidgin. There's only one person that can speak pidgin and Hausa. 20 million, or they finish you. I say, we don't kill me now. Where will I get it? If I sell all my property, I'm not up to 20 million. So they say, call your family. I call one of my colleagues, who also a very smart guy. So he started the negotiation and started with 250,000 naira. Oh my God. I received a dirty slap.
Sorry, did you see stars?
I saw them. In fact, you won't remember the star. You think you are seeing moon. You are somewhere else and all of that. I said, I talked to him. Then later, the guy now advanced to 500,000. He said, you are not serious. Yeah, I wasn't serious. Then within that period, we spent a whole day. The familiarity started growing. And I've been able to identify those who are Nigerians. And I discovered that at least one is Nigerian. So we moved closer. And I later discovered that it was the twice. They also have they have rank twice. I said, I don't have money. A poor man, look at my age. And thank God my whole head, everything, I didn't shave. He said, Baba, don't worry, you go. Just let those people increase the money. So later they got to 750. He now pleaded on my behalf. Their commander initially agreed. Later I said, went and came back and said, no, it's not taken. He has reduced it to 5 million. After a lot of, they got to 900. And I said, well, if this guy cannot pay, they will kill him. But my other colleague, had this, they couldn't tell me that they were going to kill me. So they didn't tell me. I just discovered that their mood changed. So, and the Nigerian guy, the Kano guy, said, if they are Oga Parabata come, I should just be saying, Yankuli, Yankuli, Yankuli.
Meaning?
Meaning forgive.
Forgive. So when he came, I held his leg. As I say, Yankuli. Now I told the guy that they didn't like the man. Make we wrap it up to 1 million. Make them release me. He don't want to do anything with me. He don't want to touch me. In spirit, they tell me, say, make him release me. So the guy interpreted that to me. That was when my mind came. When you are in there, it's a 50-50 thing. What you think you are doing to get their turn against you the next minute. So at that point, it was like I was eager. Let them deliver this money so that I can leave. So the following day, the money was delivered around 6 o'clock. You are collecting the money from other guys too. This man, Durotoye, his manager was in my cell. We were both kidnapped together. Maybe he's hearing me as I'm saying, as I'm speaking. You know? So we are being moved from one place to another. This time around, we were relaxed, in a more relaxed mood. We are not guiding us to. So then I said, okay, we are moving. They escorted us to a point and gave us, I think they gave me 1,500 to transport myself home. They gave everybody, and they asked one of us who could speak Fulani very well, give him direction as to how we are going to move. So we started our journey into Lijana from the forest. So we were released around 7 o'clock
a.m. p.m.
p.m. and we go to the express, the Lijana. We got there around 1 o'clock. Trekking.
Were you kept in an enclosure?
No.
Or open air?
Open air.
Usually very
rock.
close to source of what, maybe a pond or a running
stream? Yes. There's a rock. You can even lie on the rock. We were sitting on, and in the night they will make fire. You know, I told you it's February, so it was cold.
Yes. Okay. Please, I just like to again, before we come back to Mohammed Ali in our studio, I like to talk to the psychologist once more, and that's Professor Benjamin Ihige, and it's on the latest development with the birth of the baby girl. You know, one of the pregnant women in their captivity is said to have given birth to a bouncing baby girl. And the abductors were the one that actually, brought in the doctors, the medical practitioner that, of course, delivered the baby. And I'm like, earlier on, Kingsley, Bayo and I were talking about it. And I thought that this compassion is not consistent, with the character disposition of kidnappers. Is there anything that you can tell us about their psychology at this time?
If you may, sorry, Claire. Professor Ige, please take this question along with what my colleague Claire has asked. How do you explain the apparent compassion of the terrorists versus the fact that they are still holding on to these hostages? Yeah, Professor, again, let me take this question again, along with what my colleague Claire asked. That's to say, they brought in medical personnel to help in the delivery of the baby girl last weekend, and they have also released the photograph of the baby girl. That's an act of compassion. But we are saying, how do you explain that act of compassion against the fact that they are still holding on to these hostages? And we hear they are demanding a prisoner swap.
Thank you very much. I'm going to consider it from two perspectives. One is the fact that most times we consider these kidnappers in terms of the perpetrators, those we see immediately. But it should be noted that these perpetrators, they are more or less employees. They are not the business kingpins. There are people who are really financing it, like the explanations that was made by he that had past experience. Most of these people are not from Nigeria. How did they get to Nigeria? They must have a solid base of an individual, a business, let me put it in quote, a businessman who is using kidnapping as a source of generating funds. Now, these individuals, they are well connected. They are well connected with professionals. They are well connected with people into careers, into professional training and expertise, such that when there are challenges, they can easily dispatch a professional who is needed in that area for the service, and after that is done, it is withdrawn. Their concern is that they want to generate money, and for them to generate money, they have to make contacts with people that will be able to meet up with the needs of the victims when it arises. Now, this situation of this case of a pregnant woman giving birth, the person who gave assistance for delivery and so on certainly will be paid and is part of them. They work as a group. They work as a team. And that is how they operate. And that is why it becomes essential for us not just to be looking at these perpetrators. Looking at these perpetrators, like mentioned, they are young people. They are people, I might say, in a way, they are impoverished. They are not wealthy. Then you begin to ask yourself, how did they get these weapons? Now, with the amount of skills they demonstrate in perpetrating their criminality, you know that they must have undergone training. And it is their employers, in quotes, that subject them to these trainings, equipped them, and make them well prepared for this business they are engaged in. That's why most times when we are thinking of arresting perpetrators, you go beyond these perpetrators. Security agencies should try to discover, investigate from them who is the individual or who are the individuals behind these actions. Then in terms of the perpetrators themselves, they are human beings, although at times because of substance abuse, they take drugs and so on, they behave in the other way around. But at times when they are back to their senses, they still behave as human beings by trying to show compassion, by trying to discuss, by trying to be friendly. At times they are conscious of themselves that what they are doing is wrong. But unfortunately, the situation they find themselves because they want to generate revenue, and what they get from it is not as heavy as what their employer gets. So that human compassion occasionally comes upon them. When they respond in that way, they want to give some assurance to the victims. And that is why we have what we call Stockholm Syndrome. Stockholm Syndrome is a syndrome that develops when a victim under such kidnapping situation, under such situation, they tend to now show sympathy or even empathy to the perpetrators. They develop relationship, they develop friendliness. And that is why at times you discover that the perpetrators can even strategically set some of the victims free because relationship has been developed between them. So they are still human beings. They have these human feelings, except when they take drugs, they go the other way around. But when they come to their human normal state, they still behave accordingly. And they do it so that they can gain the trust of the victims. They make them to be relaxed so that they can be able to stay without getting sick, because when they are sick, it will be of additional cost. And at times, like some reported, at times when they are negotiating with their family members or the sources of their social support, at times they ask them to dramatize. Like I heard, I've not had the experience. They tell them to dramatize when they are in this negotiation, that they should be shouting, they should be crying as if they are being tormented, as if they are being tortured. And they do it so that the family members, who are the social supporters, will be affected emotionally. And that emotional effect will create the need, the urgency for them to negotiate for high amounts so that the perpetrators can get more. So it is possible for such relationship to exist. But I would still want to say, for the government and the security agents, it's not enough for a perpetrator at a point in time to be caught, to be arrested, to be prosecuted, without going in depth into discovering the brain behind their activities. And I think that is why it is still continuing. Sufficient efforts have not been made to discover the people, the person who is strongly behind all these kidnapping activities. And not until we get to that level, it will continue, because the reward that they are getting from kidnapping activities is far more than the punitive measures, if there is any, that are available. Why do people go into kidnapping? In the first instance, they go into kidnapping because they have some needs that are ungratified. And that motivates them towards looking for outlets whereby they can gratify their needs, especially financial needs. And they see kidnapping as a good avenue for gratification of their financial needs. And because of the reward they get in return, that encourages them, that reinforces them.
All right, Professor Benjamin Ehige, we would like to appreciate your professorial comments on this very touching incident. You joined us from our Ibadan Network Center. Thank you very much for having been with us this morning. And here in the studios in Abuja, would like to appreciate Mohammed Ali, Mohammed Ali was on that ill-fated train service, and he is acting Deputy Director News of the Nigerian Television Authority. Mohammed Ali, once again, we appreciate your being with us.
Thank you, please.
Dr. Ayo Olorunfemi, who is the Chairman, Political Commission of the Trade Union Congress, we are grateful for the views that you have expressed. You have let us know that you were on the earlier train service, 2:30 or 2:20 p.m. to Kaduna on the same day. And incidentally, you had also been a kidnapped victim. Thank you for sharing your experiences with us. Abdulaziz Atta, spokesperson, relatives of the kidnapped train passengers. We are full of appreciation for your patience, and we also believe that you've made very useful contributions to our conversation today in terms of the requests that you have made on behalf of the relatives of the passengers who are still in captivity, and that, of course, you and others will have benefited from the contributions of the other guests. Abdulaziz, deep thanks. All right. That's it for us on Good Morning Nigeria today. Thank you for tuning in. We're back on Monday, same time, 7 in the morning. I'm Kingsley Osadolo.
I'm Claire Dilabu Abdul Razak, and just a reminder that you too can be a star by joining the NTA in the fight against rape and rapists. From the GMN crew, have a good weekend.